Yo, what's up, faders? Welcome to yet another action-packed episode of Got Faded Japan, and I am your host, Johnny. And faders, unfortunately, I am all by myself, just podcasting all by myself again. I know I've got a terrible voice, but it's true. I'm podcasting all by myself because my partners in crime, Tom and Jeremy, are out and about. But don't worry, they're not getting into trouble. Well, maybe they are. They're probably, okay, let's be honest. They're getting into trouble, but those guys are out and about and they're making plans for episode number 600. Yes, faders, we are going to finally have episode number 600. We were going to postpone it another month because we're in the middle of a dry lock. And our dry lock, for all you guys that don't understand or don't know, a dry lock is basically like, I don't know, Alex, what's a dry lock?
A dry lock is, I don't know what a dry lock is. What is a dry
Well,
lock?
you're in the middle. Wait, you're in Japan, right?
It's state of emergency, right?
It's a state of emergency, and it's where they forbid alcohol. Thus, dry lockdown. So we're in the middle of a dry lock, and yes, Tom and Jeremy are making some big plans for next episode's big number of 600. So this episode here is not episode 600. And faders, as you know, Got Fitted Japan is about two dudes, booze, Japan, and the news. And we aim to impress. And so we are here with two dudes. We're here with me and my good friend, the man with the golden voice, Alexander Laurence. And Alex, what number is this? This is episode number 599. Point your favorite number. What's your favorite number?
Number 7.
Numbers. Ooh, good number. I love the number 7. I love that. Okay. 599.7. Okay, that's awesome. And episode number 600 is going to be our next episode. And I am really looking forward to that one. Alex, I'm really looking forward also to speaking with you, my man. Cheers, kampai. Good to meet you.
And likewise, me too.
And thank you for doing this very late night podcast with me. This podcast is going to be very interesting because, faders, we are going to dig deep into the Tokyo music scene with a living legend in the Tokyo music scene. Alex, all right, before we talk about who you are and what you do, I want to know who you are and what you do. Tell us.
Well, so I came to Japan about 2 years ago. And before all of that, I lived in a very Japanese part of London. And I was surrounded by Japanese people. My neighbors were Japanese. There was a Japanese school next to where I live. And so I've always been familiar with Japanese culture and Japanese language. So coming here to Japan, it almost didn't feel like a foreign country to me. And so there wasn't much of a cultural adjustment. But having said that, I would say that the availability of alcohol has been a blessing in this country because, as I explained off air to John, that I used to live in Scotland and we had this 10 p.m., 10 a.m. rule where you couldn't purchase alcohol between those hours. And so coming to Japan where you have nomi hodais and alcohol, you can buy them konbinis, open 24 hours a day. And it's, wow, this is great. So I used to just hang out with friends and just drink and play music. And that's when I met a man called Mike DeYoung, who's also a friend of John.
Mike Dion. Yeah, mad respect to that guy. We love him.
The myth, the legend, Mike DeYoung, who he's so I met him at this Dutch bar in Kokubunji, and he was actually playing live, and he was playing the mandolin, and he was playing rock tunes on the mandolin, and I thought that was pretty interesting because mandolin is usually like bluegrass music, and I thought that's quite interesting. And I had a word with him after the show, and I said, Mike, that was amazing. You know, I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to play with you sometime. And we didn't actually play with each other until a few months later, but it got to the point where he started showing up to the same bar, and I started showing up. We started talking more and more, and he just said eventually, Alex, do you want to warm up for our next concert? And you can play a few tracks, and then we'll play afterwards. And the only condition Mike gave me was that he said, Alex, you've got to sing first. So before that, I wasn't really like a confident singer. I used to always play stuff like in the background and play instrumentals. And so Mike was like, you got to sing, Alex. So I said, okay, fine, I'll do it. So it got to the point where I came to that concert, and I played basically 4 tracks. 4 of them were kind of instrumentals, and then the last one, I just literally left the last one to as a singing track. And it was a John Frusciante song, and I'm a huge fan of John Frusciante.
Who isn't?
Yeah, right. Well, I'll tell the story after, but the reason why I got into guitar is because of John Frusciante. And after I played, I was just pleasantly surprised that everyone was very receptive to what I was doing. And it's just amazing feeling, it's like, I can't really describe it, John. It's like when I'm performing, it's almost like me and the guitar. The guitar is like an extension of my body, and I'm just like expressing myself in a way that can't be described in words. It's all audible, and then someone in the audience picks up on what I'm doing, and after I finish, they say, oh, Alex, I really loved what you're doing. They totally understood what I was communicating with them. Yeah, that feeling, I can't really describe in words, but it's what got me motivated to start this record. So I started writing December 2020, and it took me about a year of writing material. Every day I was writing things that came to my head. Like literally on my phone, I have like a whole list of like voice recordings of like melodies that just suddenly pop into my head, because I know if I don't record them, I would forget them. So like when I wake up in the morning, sometimes I dream about melodies and certain lines of songs, and I'm half asleep and I'm just recording them, because if I don't record them, I'd forget them 5 seconds later. And
You're a true artist, man. You've got the radar.
Well, thank you. I mean, 95% of them are trash, I have to say, but there's 5% of them that they have something that I can work with.
Wait, you said 95%? Dude, I'm a painter. For me, it's like 99. 99% of those little doodles really suck, but it's that 1%.
Yeah. Well, I say to everyone, art is the same. It's all self-expression, and it's so therapeutic, especially in these times during the pandemic, when we only have ourselves. And yeah, it's got me through this pandemic, writing these things, and here I am. And it's always been a dream of mine to write my own song and to perform them on stage. And yeah, I've recently done that, and I put out this record thanks to Mike and people who've supported me.
Okay, you've answered half of my questions, but you've given me like, I think 100 new questions.
Okay,
right.
Yeah. That's good.
First off, thank you for that introduction. That was magnificent. That's like a movie trailer for Godzilla, dude. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Now, okay. All right. First off, your voice is amazing. You've got a killer voice, dude. And when Justin asked me about you, he's like, "Hey, do you know about Alexander Laurence?" And I was like, "No, I don't." He's like, "Dude, you got to have him on your podcast. He's got a great voice." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Well, can you give me some of his music?" And he shot me some of your music, like the music video. And I was like, "Oh shit, this guy really can sing." So my first question to you is, did you take singing lessons, or is this natural?
So firstly, thank you so much for the compliment.
Oh, you better thank Justin first.
Thank you, John.
That guy, oh my God, Justin's awesome. And he had a lot of praise to say about you. He's like, dude, you haven't heard about Alexander? Jesus, you got to know about Alexander. You got to get him on the show. You don't have a show unless you get him on the show. It's like, okay, all right, Justin, relax. All right, come on.
That's very kind of him.
Yeah, I know. He's a great guy. I love Justin.
I sort of find that, of course, like everyone has their own style of like singing and playing music, and I sort of found my own niche of singing, because I know my limitations and my capabilities, and so yeah, I didn't really have singing lessons, but I really, like I said before, I'm a huge fan of John Frusciante, so I really try to pay attention to what he was doing, especially in his solo career, outside of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Everything was, what struck me the most about John Frusciante's music was that it felt very homemade, because it's very, well, he did record most of it in his home, but it just felt like anyone could do what he does. It sounds really far-fetched to say that, but it just felt like I could do it. If he could do it, I could do it. And so I try to follow in his footsteps, and of course I can't achieve what John Frusciante achieves, but I try to follow in what he was doing, and especially in his singing style, because I know he was highly influenced by, I forgot the name, father and son. Yeah, I forgot the singer's name, but he was highly influenced by like 1970s, 1980s music, Bee Gees, Parliament Funkadelic.
Oh, father and son. Would that be like the Jackson 5?
Not
Father's
that,
the manager, though.
the one that goes Wild World. Who's the singer of the Wild World?
Wild World?
Yeah, Wild World. Wild World, I think.
You know what? I've got Google. Huh?
Cat Stevens. That's it.
Oh, Cat Stevens. Oh, God.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, it just came to me. Yeah. So yeah, he's highly influenced by Cat Stevens' singing style, and yeah, so I try to follow that sort of way of singing, and he's very into like very falsetto stuff. Like if you listen to his harmonies, and so yeah, like I tried to follow what he was doing, but I didn't have any formal training or anything. But
Wow. Okay. Wow. I'm blown away. I wish I could do that. I wish I could just be like, I want to sing, pick up a microphone at karaoke and be like, all by myself, and just fucking nail it. And that's exactly what you do, man. You've got to. When I said the man with the golden voice, I was not joking, man. I heard your new album and heard some of your last album, and yeah, it's really good, really good.
thank you.
I know right now we can't perform live for, well, I guess for the next 3 weeks we can't perform live, but in the future, when you start performing live and performing on stage, are you going to perform only, or are you going to sing only in English, or will you also sing in Japanese? Because most bands that only speak English just sing in English, and they just throw a couple of Japanese words out there just to kind of get the crowd moving and stuff. They're like, ah, suge. You know, it's like, oh my God, he said suge, yay, you know? Or like, I mean, what is your tactic? If I was a singer, I'd do both.
Oh yeah, I mean, so on my solo record, the opening track, 6 Days in Figueroa, actually has Japanese in it, and so the last section of the song, I say "aoni," which means to the blue, and it's referring to the sea, and so I do have one song that has Japanese in it, but as for the future, I don't know. It's quite difficult for me to write in Japanese because I feel more expressive in English because it's my native language. But perhaps in the future, as I improve my Japanese ability, I might be able to. But I do like Japanese music. I think there's a lot to learn from Japanese music, because the thing I like in particular with Japanese music is that J-pop, a lot of the J-pop songwriters are influenced by American musicians, jazz musicians in particular, and it's this form of cultural exchange, because J-pop comes from American jazz, and then it's influenced back to Japan, and then you see jazz music today, which is some of which is actually influenced by Japanese jazz musicians. So it's kind of going back to America. So it's this back and forth influence, and it's very fascinating stuff. And but yeah, I'm a huge fan of Japanese music, but I just wish I could write in Japanese, but I can't at the moment.
Well, there's always katakana.
Yes.
I mean, why go to kanji when there's katakana? Seriously. Watashi wa itteru, anata wa kuchi unkusai da mo daijoubu. You know, I mean.
Dude, whenever I go to karaoke, I always like there's an option on the button that you can convert everything into katakana, and I do that all the time. I just can't follow hiragana or kanji.
Oh God, you know, when it comes to like, all right, when it comes to like Japanese, hiragana and katakana, I got it down, no problem. But am I a fast reader? No. For me, dude, I've been in Japan for almost 20 years now, and I still read like a 5-year-old kid. I'm like, Anata wa suge onako suita. Oh, he's really hungry. You know, it's just like
I'm the same.
And I look at a lot of manga, so I mean, I don't know, maybe, oh, I know what it is. I'm always faded. I drink every day. Come on. Atamamashiro. Oh, atamamashiro. Yep, that's it. All right. For everybody that doesn't understand Japanese out there, I just said my mind is blank. And that's going to be the phrase for today. Atama mashiro. My mind is white, which basically translates to my mind is blank. It's a Japanese idiom that translates pretty close to the English idiom. But I'm going to say a lot of Japanese idioms don't translate well. Don't even get into the animal ones because they sound a little racist sometimes. You're like, oh, I don't think I can say that in any conversation anytime ever.
I'm a huge fan of Japanese dad jokes, oyaji gagu.
Oh, dude, you're not going to make fart noises, are you?
No. It's
a family show, okay? No, I'm joking. It's okay.
I've seen a lot of Japanese comedies, and yeah, I'm not a huge fan of them, but I know that dad jokes in Japan are quite well. They're received in the same way as they would in America and in Europe. Usually, people just nod and say, "Oh, nice." But there was this one, the best dad joke I've ever told in Japan, actually, and I don't know if your listeners would catch on to it.
They might. They're fast. They're drunk, but they're fast.
do you know? Okay, so do you know Takeshi Kitano?
No.
Okay. So there's this Japanese director called Kitano Takeshi, and he's wild famous in Japan, and well, he's not so active these days, but he made all these films. He's almost like the level of Kurosawa.
Wait, is he like Takashi Miike?
I'm not sure who Takashi Miike is, but
oh God, see, I watch a lot of underground movies.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I'm sorry to cut you off. Please continue. Sorry.
No, not at all. Maybe he's associated with Takashi Miike. But yeah, so I live next to Takao-san, which is this mountain in Tokyo, and
wow. Okay. Cool.
There is this kakigori shop in this next to the station, and they had all these photos of Kitano Takeshi, and I said to the owner, or just as a joke, because his name is Kitano Takeshi, I said, Takeshi Kitano, which Kitano means did he come, which is kind of like a double entendre, and yeah, it didn't get the reaction that I thought it would, because that was, to me, I thought that was the best joke I've ever told in Japan, but no, he was just like, oh, nice. And you could hear the tumbleweed blowing.
Was it kind of like dun dun?
Yeah, the Japanese version of that. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. not in this climate culture. No way.
Oh no, we don't we don't want that.
We got a lot of listeners that are woke, dude. No, I'm joking. You can do anything you want in this show, dude. Anyway, wah wah wah, pow, whatever you want to do, it's fine. Oh man. Okay. Dad jokes are awesome. Love dad jokes. Love Japanese underground movies. And if you want to talk about Japanese underground movies, oh my god, you know what I just saw recently? Well, I saw it again recently. Forest of Love. Have you seen Forest of Love?
Name rings a bell, but I'm not sure if I've seen that.
Just watch Force of Love on Netflix. Now there's a drama, like a TV show, it's 6 series, and then there's the movie. Just watch the movie. You don't have to watch the drama. It's extended, but it's the most bizarre and horrific true story, gruesome Japanese horror movie I've seen in a long time. And it came out last year, and dude, it is so good. Oh man.
Mhm.
We
Oh,
love
I've got to see it. I'd love to. Forest of Love.
Forest of Love. It sounds like a romance. I thought it was a romance. I was like, all right, let's get the family together and watch this movie. After 5 minutes, I'm like, put the kids to bed.
Yeah, it does sound like a romance.
Oh God. No, I don't have any kids, but holy smokes. All right. Speaking of romance, I love your new album. The new album is called Currently Offline, and I want to know about it because you recorded the whole album within the last like 6 months in isolation. Can you tell us
Yes,
about that?
Oh yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, so I've recorded the entire thing in my house in isolation during the lockdown period, and I just it's always been a dream of mine to put out my own record because I live in Hachioji, Tokyo, and we have like a couple of open mic nights which I kind of tagged along to. And me being me, and at the time I thought, I just wing it and play a few cover songs. It's kind of like karaoke, I thought. But then I end up showing up to the open mic night, and like everyone's playing their own original tunes, and here's me just playing all these cover songs. And I thought, my god, these people are real artists. They're playing their own thing. Like, I want to do that. And so the girl I was with at the time, she said, Alex, you got to do your own stuff. It's like the next step if you want to be a true artist. So from there, I kind of I kind of pushed myself a bit because I've never actually written a song before that, and I didn't really have the confidence to do so. But I had a whole bunch of ideas, but I've never sort of put it together. It's a bit like maybe you would know, John. It's like painting. You have these concepts in your mind, but you've never really like formalized them in on the canvas.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was a bit like that. I've had ideas floating around, but I've never actually put it together as a record. And then it got to the point where I thought, let's just do it. Let's just put out a record. Let's write songs. So I started going to the park, the river near where I live, and just sit by with a guitar and just take my notebook and just write anything that I think of, just write. And I did that every day for a year, basically. And I ended up narrowing it down to about 10 songs, and only 4 of them made it to the record. And yeah, it's basically about my life in Japan. I think the song that sort of strikes me as the most interesting is the second song, which is A Silent Siren, which is it's actually about a ghost that falls in love with a human, but the human cannot see the ghost. So it's kind of like a forbidden love. And maybe it's a metaphor for like when you fall in love with someone, but they don't love you back, and and the person, or there's another person that loves you, but you don't love them back. And it's kind of like this impossible situation. And so yeah, I sort of wrote songs. I sort of toyed around themes and concepts like that, but yeah, at the bottom line, it's pretty much about my life in Japan so far, life as a foreigner during the lockdown period. And yeah, I ended up putting out 4 songs, and so far, I think it sounds nice.
I couldn't agree more. It sounds fucking fantastic, dude. And first off, I had no idea that the concept was about a ghost that falls in love with a human. Dude, that is some deep shit. Oh my god. That's kind of like the movie Ghost, but like it's not like they're already in love, you know, but this is like a ghost is like walking around and she's like, "Oh shit. This guy's pretty interesting." That's fantastic. Holy smokes, that's some deep stuff, dude. Yeah, that's great. Dude, I would love to see the music video because there's one thing that you know how to do. It seems like you're kind of new to the game, and that's something that I didn't know. I thought you were kind of, I thought I know you had a kind of a CD before this, and this is your second
Mhm,
CD, so I thought you've been around for a while. But
mhm.
wow, for you to have these kind of thoughts and these kind of songs and that kind of voice, dude, I think you've got a really bright future. Not only in Japan, but I mean, you can pretty much go anywhere, dude. If you keep on doing what you're doing and working as hard as you're working, wow, dude, that's incredible. And I'm serious, man. I would love to see the music video for that. A ghost that falls in love with a person. Oh
Oh,
man.
cool.
Usually, no, usually it's quite the opposite.
Yes.
In real life.
Well, thank you. Actually, I'm in talks with this guy who I hope, fingers crossed, he will shoot a music video with me or some actors, and we're thinking about doing this summer. But yeah, we're still in talks about a music video. We're just deciding which song. Might be that song. It might be another song. But yeah, it's things are starting to get, I'm starting to get the ball rolling basically, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
fingers
Yeah.
crossed. So
God damn, you're definitely getting the ball rolling. I want to ask you about the song, the music video, 6 Days in Fugurara.
mm, mm.
Now, that's a really beautiful, beautiful video. It
Oh,
reminds me
thank
of something from like the no, I would say the early 2000s, late 1990s, you know? It kind of has that just soothing, chill kind of vibe to it, where there's a guy kind of playing the guitar and there's a girl just walking through a field and stuff. I mean, back in the day, music videos were just so simple, and simple was good. You know, now music videos are just so complicated. There's so much CG, so much going on, where you're
you.
listening to the music, you're watching the music video, and you're like, wait, do these two things have anything in common? I really don't think so, you know?
Mm.
But your music video does, and I like that and stuff. Can you tell us about 6 Days in Fugurara, which is a difficult word to
Yeah.
say? Fugurara. Maybe
Right,
from all
right,
the
right.
booze.
I think so. Yeah, 6 days was, yeah. It's well, I kind of was a bit deceptive. So it's not entirely about my time in Japan. So 6 days in Figaro is about when I visited Los Angeles last year. So I had a chance to spend 1 week in Los Angeles, and it was this bizarre experience because I saw extreme wealth and extreme poverty in the same place, and I've never seen anything like that before, and it just kind of shook my whole worldview. And I I spent most of my time just in the taxi going to places, and um, trying to see as much of Los Angeles as I could. But my base was this place in Figueroa, which was the hotel that I was staying in, and the title was 6 Days in Figueroa because that was the length of the time I stayed in Los Angeles. And yeah, so it's just basically an Englishman's experience in America for the first time. That's what the song is about, and the video was essentially trying to convey a sense of loneliness. So the guy is sort of alone, and he's always thinking of um, the person that he loves or the person that he aspires to be with, and we don't know if that's real or not, if that's just a fantasy, if that's what he's just imagining or daydreaming about. But yeah, it's meant to capture that sense of loneliness, maybe the feeling that I felt when I was in America, being um, culturally different. Even though we speak the same language, it's quite different from England. Um, for example, a lot of Americans said to me, "Alex, what's your story?" And maybe it's a Los Angeles thing, but they would always say, Alex, what's your story? And as a Brit, we would never say such thing. It's usually the police who would say, what's your story? We would hear that from the police.
Wait, well, what was your answer? You're like, I killed 3 people. It was an accident. I was driving. It was my first time drinking. I was 12 years old. I'm joking.
Well, I didn't actually have an answer, so I was very nervous whenever people said that, and it was interesting because it no matter who it was, it was the bartender or the convenience shop worker or the banker. It's everyone would say the same thing. What's your story? And so I didn't know what my answer was because I didn't know what my story was. So I started questioning myself, who am I? What is my story? What is my place in life? And maybe that was the genesis of that song, 6 Days in Figueroa.
Well, I mean, the hysteria of confusion leads to art, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess basically that weird question for you was something that led to a beautiful song.
Yes, right. And it definitely it inspired me. It was Los Angeles is such a creative hub full of so many creative people, and yeah,
That's debatable.
I was very.
I lived in San Francisco, man. We got this rivalry thing. Don't worry about it.
Oh, right. Yes, I'd love to go to San Francisco, the Bay Area. So I didn't get a chance that time, but yeah, man, I'd love to go to San Francisco.
Oh, Frisco's great. I haven't been there since 2012, I think. But yeah, I lived there for 7 years before I came to Japan. And when I lived there in the 90s, it was magnificent. I hear quite the opposite these days, but I'm just hoping that everybody that I know that lives there is a complete liar. So I had a great time there. I loved it, man. Oh, God. Use dim sum yum yum. Best Chinese restaurant ever in Chinatown. Oh my gosh. $1 will get you $10 of food. Oh, so great.
Well, that's the great thing about America, especially in the West Coast, is that you have all this shared culture between like Asian Americans, Japanese, Korean, Chinese people, and Hispanics, all living in close proximity to each other. And it's just so inspirational. I've never seen anything like that before. And just that's one thing that I really loved about America.
Well, I mean, if you really want to see that, you definitely got to go to San Francisco. Hello, Faders. Thank you very much for tuning in to this special episode of Got Faded Japan. I am your host, Johnny. And when I'm not creating podcasts, there's nothing more than I enjoy than to be in my studio or at a cafe or in a park somewhere with a hot cup of coffee creating art. I love art. Art is my life. It really is. And I think art changes how I feel. It changes the way I think. It opens my mind to different ideas. And when I have a big piece that I created on my wall, it changes the environment of the room. It changes how people think when they're in the room. Art on your walls makes your life more enjoyable and more creative. It makes you more creative. I think art is the best thing in the world for me, and I would love to share my artwork with you. So if you have a couple of minutes, please come on down to SPILTINK.com. That's my website. My artwork is there. If you want to purchase my artwork, you can purchase it there. Or if you want, you can go down to my Etsy page. I have a lot of work there that's very reasonably priced. Or if you'd like to commission me to make some art for you, if you have something in mind that's very special for you, it would be my pleasure and my honor to create something for you. Art is my life, and it's my gift. And I would love to share my gift with you. Please enjoy some of these other paintings that I've created. And I look forward to meeting you sometime soon on the internet. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for tuning into Got Faded Japan. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Thank you. If you're going to get your fade on, you got to get your fade on in style. And that's why I use Ghost Town Pomade. Ghost Town Pomade is the #1 badass pomade. And I practice what I preach. When I leave this house, if I'm not wearing a hat, if I'm not wearing a lid, I'm wearing Ghost Town Pomade in my hair. This stuff is amazing. It smells good, it looks good, and it feels good. Ghost Town Pomade, badass pomade. And let me tell you one thing, it comes in a lid. That's pretty badass. This whole world is so nerfed up these days. Everything is plastic and pink, but not Ghost Town Pomade. This stuff is a man's pomade, and it is hardcore. It's so hardcore, it's from Oakland, California. Oakland, California. That's right, Ghost Town Pomade. Get your fade on in style. Proper. Going back to Japan and music and stuff, I'm sorry, I digress. In your opinion, what is the future of music in Japan after COVID?
Oh, yeah, it's quite an interesting one because a lot of musicians have shifted to like these online concerts. Especially a lot of the indie musicians, they're throwing all these online tickets, which I think is quite steep, to be honest. They're selling them for about almost Nisen N, 2,000 yen, which I think is a bit steep for an online concert.
I agree.
But yeah, I think we're going to see more of that after the pandemic. We're going to see more online concerts, people doing things more virtually. But at the same time, I think we're going to get this initial influx of people who's been waiting for these live music and festivals to resume, which me included. You know, I haven't been to any music festivals in Japan so far. I really want to go to Fuji Rock. I think it's called Fuji Rock Summer
Fuji
Sonic.
Rock, yeah.
Yeah,
Summer
yeah, yeah.
Sonic, Fuji Rock.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like we're going to see a huge influx of music enthusiasts go to these concerts. And well, as for the future of music in Japan, I just feel that Japanese music is quite special because unlike Korean pop music and Chinese pop music, which is very international, they have all these American, European songwriters. Japanese music is very Japanese. You know, it's catered for the Japanese market. So I think whatever happens in America or Europe, it won't really influence Japan so much as it would in Korea. But there's a lot more international interest in Korean pop music than in Japan, I think. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right. My last question is this. In your bio, it says that your music is influenced by Japanese music, US music, UK music, and Swedish music.
Mm-hmm.
I understand Japan, US, UK, but I do not understand the Swedish music inspiration at all. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Like, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Then I listened to your CD, the 4 tracks on YouTube again. I was like, wait, where does he get this? I love Sweden. I've been to Sweden. I lived in Sweden for, no, I didn't live there. I stayed there extensively for a little bit, but it's just like, I didn't get any Swedish music vibe at all. So you got to tell me, where did that come from?
Okay, maybe I should rewind a bit back. So the reason I got into music was when I was in high school, and so I started going to these talent shows in my school, and there was this group of really cool seniors who used to play the guitar, and I thought, wow, that's really great. I want to do what they're doing. And so I said to my music teacher one day that I want to pick up the guitar, and I didn't know how to play a goddamn thing. You know, I was just strumming every note I could find. And so the feedback that I got was, you know, he said, all right, that's very nice, Alex, you know, but you know, next time try and play some notes. I felt like quite humiliated by what he said, because I thought I am playing notes, but maybe it's not the right notes that he expected. But I thought, you know, I'll show him. So I said to my parents that same day that I want to get a guitar. I want to play a guitar. I want to show this guy that I can do better. So the next day, my mum was kind of slightly late home to home, and I called her and I said, "Where are you?" And she said, "Oh, Alex, I'm buying a guitar for you." I said,
Good
"Really?"
mom.
And she said, "Yeah." Yeah. I was surprised. I didn't think she would actually do that. And she said, Alex, I think you're going to need lessons since you're going to get a guitar. And so she got me the whole thing basically. And essentially, I started listening to more music, and we had this show on TV in the UK called Kerrang, which is this rock music show. It's basically like MTV, but just for rock music. And I was born in '92, but I didn't really pay attention to rock music until I was like in my teens. And there was this guy with this like quite goofy sort of hat and this green guitar in this music video, and he started playing this tune. And I was mind blown by it because it was it was actually Under the Bridge by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and
Oh, wow.
everyone knows that opening riff with the dun dun dun, and that sort of arpeggio that he's playing, and I was like, wow! In my mind, it sounded like 2 or 3 people playing the guitar. It didn't compute to my mind that it was just one person, and I thought I want to do exactly what he's doing. So yeah, I spent most of my years. I've been playing guitar for almost 20 years now, and I've just been following that guy, John Frusciante, for 20 years, trying to emulate what he does. Yeah, and then it got me to Swedish music, which most of my favorite artists was like ABBA, Jens Lekman, the Cardigans, and the way that they write music is quite different from the UK, I think, because it's quite heavily focused on the storytelling element rather than melody and the chords or the riffs. American music seems to be sort of focused on the riffs. European music seems to be focused on melody more. But Swedish music, the sort of storytelling element seems to be quite important. And so I really was influenced by that portion of songwriting. And yeah, that's why I was interested in Swedish music.
Interesting. All right, cool. Now it makes sense. Now it all comes together. And actually, I had no idea that you played the guitar for 20 years. So
Yep.
that's pretty awesome, man. All right. What kind of guitar do you play?
Fender Strats.
Fender Strat. Ooh, Jimi Hendrix guitar. You can't go
Yes.
wrong with that one. Oh, man. That's pretty awesome. All right, dude. Alex, I gotta say thank you so much for being on the show. It's a pleasure to have you here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little break, and then after we take the break, we're gonna come back and we're gonna do the news. But before we do that, what I really want you to do is I want you to plug anything and everything that you got. I know it's a lockdown, and there's no way we can have any shows legally, and but if you got a CD out that people can buy, if you got like music videos where people can like hear it and stuff and see it, please tell us now. All the plugs you can give, drop them now. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh yeah, sure. Thank you, John. So if you go to linktr.ee/Alex Laurence, and that's Lawrence with LAU rather than LAW, you can find all of my stuff, which is on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. So all of my links are in there. So it's linktr.ee/Alex Laurence.
Fantastic. And actually, that link is going to be in the show notes. So we're going to drop that there. So, faders, when you listen to this episode, stop right now. Just like stop it. And then even before you hear our sponsors, but you should definitely listen to our sponsors, go down, click on that, and buy him, support him, get everything about him. Take him for yourselves. Listen to his music. My God, I gotta say, man, Alex, your voice is amazing. You've got an amazing voice. I'm still kind of floored that you didn't take any kind of music lessons, or wait, did you take guitar lessons?
So I kind of had guitar lessons for about a month or two, but I decided to do everything on my own after that.
Jesus, the guy is self-taught. This is insane. So basically, yeah, the guy's a natural. His voice is a natural. His guitar playing is natural. So definitely go there, check this guy out, support him, buy his merch. When in the future, when you come to Japan, or basically if he goes on tour in the future to your country, check him out. This guy's incredible. Alex, thank you. And on that note, let's take a little break. Cool.
are above, small equals great, macrocosm equals microcosm, infinite loop, scaling dimension, infinite divisibility, fractal universe, reincarnation.